Now, the topic that we are going to discuss is right after the ending of polls and after the polls, what the polling personnel should do and the process after the closing of polls, submission of related equipment and documents to the office of the returning officer. Right after the polling process, when the close button is pressed, the total number of votes can be seen from the machine. It should be recorded in the Form 17C, accounts of votes and paper seal accounts. Copies must be given to the polling agents, election agent or the candidate himself or herself if present. After copies are given to the concerned individuals, we will declare the poll ended and subsequent steps will be taken up. In this, firstly, off the CU and then disconnect all such as BU, VVPAT and put inside boxes. After that, we will start a process of sealing. Sealing of boxes will be covered in another class. Here, we will use an address tag and threads in the sealing process. For this, there may be a separate video tutorial. In the next step, assuming all the above processes are done, if in the address tag, if any polling agents, election agents or candidates want to put signatures on the address tag, they can. After that, a corresponding declaration, Part 4 declaration after the sealing of the voting machine has to be made by the presiding officer. Individuals who put their signature on the address tag need to put their signature here in the declaration as well. Subsequently, after this process, the ending process of poll collection of materials can be divided into 11 parts. In this, firstly, packing of EVM, CU and BU and putting them in a sealed box. Then, for VVPAT as well in a separate box. After sealing is done, putting the signatures of agents, candidates and presiding officer is required. Second part includes covering of account of votes and paper seal account Form 17C and sealing it and putting the signature of the presiding officer. Next will be the declaration of presiding officer, that is declaration 1 to 4, signing it and putting them in an envelope and sealing it. Similarly, presiding officer's diary, visit sheets and 16-point observer's report all will be sealed separately. All the 6 items that I have mentioned earlier, EVM VVPAT, secondly, accounts of votes and paper seal accounts Form 17C, third, declaration of presiding officer, fourth, presiding officer's diary, fifth, visit sheets, and in the sixth, 16-point observer's report. All of these items will be sealed separately using separate covers, sealing envelopes. All must be signed by the presiding officer. On the 7th process, there is green statutory cover, a big envelope. In this green statutory cover, we will put 5 different small envelopes. These small envelopes will also be sealed. Those 5 small sealed envelopes are to be put inside the big green envelope and seal it again. Now I will explain what will be there inside those small envelopes. In the first, marked copy of electoral roll seal. Marked copy of electoral roll used in the polling day are to be put inside the cover and seal it. Secondly, register of voters, also known as Form 17A. This will also put inside an envelope and seal it. Voters' slip 2 will put inside envelope and sealed. Unused standard ballot papers will also put inside envelope and sealed properly. On 5th, used standard ballot papers and the corresponding list Form 17B will be put inside envelope and sealed properly. Those set small 5 envelopes are to be signed by the presiding officers before putting it in the large envelope. If agents, candidates, if present, they will be asked to put their signature as well. One thing to be taken care of is, if standard ballot papers are not used on the polling day, that is, if no one applies for standard vote, then the used standard ballot paper envelope will be empty. Even though it is empty, there should be a small paper written nil and put inside the used standard ballot paper and seal it, so that it will be known that is submitted. Next, on the 8th step, there will be a big envelope named yellow non-statutory cover. Inside this envelope, we need to put a lot of items. No need to seal this big cover. Since it is a big cover, it can be tied with threads or by making use of pins. Those things to be put inside this cover are as follows. Other copies of electoral rolls apart from the marked copies of electoral rolls, if there is any, put inside the envelope, no need to seal. Next is appointment orders of polling agents. Appointment orders of polling agents, Form 10, to be put inside the envelope, no need to seal and put it inside big yellow cover. Thirdly, EDC, Election Duty Certificates, Form 12B has to be put inside an envelope, no need to seal. Fourthly, list of challenged votes, Form 14, to be put inside an envelope. This needs to be sealed properly. No need to seal any covers, I said earlier, only this fourth one is to be sealed. And on the fifth, list of blind and infirm electors, Form 14A, and declarations of such electors, this has to be put inside an envelope, put inside the yellow statutory cover. Declaration of electors' age and the list of such electors. When there are people from whom ages cannot be confirmed, declaration from them is taken and allowed to vote. All these declarations are to be put inside this yellow non-statutory cover. Next, receipt book and cash. Money and receipt book deposits related with challenged votes, these items are to be put inside this yellow non-statutory cover. Next is unused and damaged paper seals. This has to be put inside an envelope, no need to seal. Used voter slips. This has to be put inside an envelope, no need to seal. Next, unused and damaged special tags. This has to be put inside an envelope, no need to seal. And lastly, unused and damaged strip seals. This also has to be put inside an envelope, no need to seal and put inside a yellow non-statutory cover. Things to be noted are appointment order of polling agents. Second, list of challenged votes, Form 14, and unused and damaged paper seals. This mentioned three items must be signed by the presiding officer, candidate, election agent, polling agent, if they are present at the moment on the envelope. Next, on the ninth part, there is a brown third packet, a different cover. Here, the handbook of the presiding officer, manual of EVM and VVPAT, indelible ink set should be put inside after sealing it properly using wax so that no ink will be leaked outside. Put inside this brown cover. Self-inking pads used by illiterate persons for thumb impressions should be put here. Metal seal of the presiding officers, arrow cross mark rubber stamp for marking tendered ballot papers, and lastly, cup for setting the indelible ink are also to be put inside this brown packet. On the 10th part, blue fourth packet. Things to be put here are those things apart from those already mentioned 9 items. Or in the 11th part, the gunny bag provided can be used if there are some items left behind from the blue packet, can be put inside this gunny bag. All polling personnel after the process of voting is over, let's discuss things to be done after reaching the returning officer's office. All poll materials, that is EVM, VVPAT, account of votes and paper seals account, declarations of presiding officer, presiding officer's diary, visit sheet, 16-point observer report, green statutory cover, non-statutory cover, brown third packet, fourth blue packet and gunny bag. After bringing all of these items, where to submit it? The returning officer will set up sufficient number of counters to receive the polling agents. In these receiving points, the polling agents should report and submit those materials in a very well-maintained fashion. In this process of submission, only the main materials are to be submitted to the counter, such as EVM, VVPAT, account of votes and paper seals account, declaration of presiding officer, presiding officer's diary, visit sheets, 16-point observer report. After this, green statutory cover, yellow non-statutory cover, brown third packet, blue fourth packet and gunny bag must be submitted to the counter. Keep in mind that if in the polling station, if there is complaints or law and order problem excited, if there is any other serious issues or in the process of mock poll, if no election agent, polling agent or candidate are involved in the mock poll, Then the polling personnel should go to a special counter to submit those materials and report properly. In this special counter, RO himself and observers or AROs will be there in the counter. And while submitting these materials, only when the concerned officers in the counter approve the submitting materials, and only after they are fully satisfied, the polling personnel will be relieved, and polling officers can go home.